The indie game scene always perpetually looks something like this.
Oh my God.
But every once in a while, there is an indie game that so many people will talk about, ascending beyond the level of a grade 11 student project that took 2 hours at max. And they can gain so much popularity, it's hard not to hear about it. For me, at least, those games were always the Hotline Miami games, over and over, mainly from the game's popular soundtrack, but it kept falling on my backlog. Eventually, I finally got to play them, and yeah, I could see why they get all this talk. In fact, I think they pretty much deserve it. I wanted to talk about in this definitely original and new video, why did Hotline Miami get so much attention despite looking very simplistic? What made Hotline Miami so special? I'm gonna try and keep this video spoiler free, by the way, but I mean, the best way to go in blind to these games is by literally going in blind, so keep that in mind. Hotline Miami, as in the first one, was released in 2012 on Steam, developed by Denaton and Abstraction Games, and published by that one indie publisher you see everywhere but can only name like 2 games of theirs. The game's premise was fairly simple. You play as a man known by the player as Jacket, who has kept receiving strange coded phone calls that sound like normal mundane tasks. Only answering them leads to game-ending whole gangs like the Russian mob. This is pretty much the first game. This game isn't completely simple, as both of these games are known to get adamantly surreal and really screw with your head, especially 2, but it's an enjoyable, short experience. The variety of masks helps replayability, and the thing with the biker was really clever, and I've honestly never seen that be done before. People latched onto this game easily, and for good reason. It has good style, the gameplay's addicting, it starts the Hotline Miami story pretty understandably, but I feel like after playing 2, anything you can say about these games is much stronger applied to 2, so I'm just gonna skip straight to the second one. Due to the success of the first and the fact that the sequel was planned to be the last, it was almost bound to happen. It came out in 2015 and everything about it was way better. The game was longer, bigger, and bolder, and it excelled at pretty much everything the first one had set up. For one, if you played the first game and for some reason haven't played the second and thought, damn, that first game was pretty wacky, well, that game just served you an appetizer because that shit was just starting. The first game, for the most part, is told linearly, but the second game, having 3 major years in the story, spread out before, during, and after the first game and told completely out of order, it is admittedly pretty cool. You don't know what the game is going to serve you next and when. It's like a puzzle you get to think about, but at the same time, I needed a plot summary because it was so convoluted that after beating the game, I didn't get like most of it. I did like how the second game revolves around the first one without tying them completely, as in the first one is the setup and the second one is the consequences. They're set in the same world and of the same events, but from different perspectives and different playable characters. I really like that too. Evan is easily my favorite character. Like, just give him a whole game. The game mainly talks about things like violence, but thankfully it's not just violence bad. It's violence is natural in life and the media that we as humans absorb, but no matter how much we try to stop it, it keeps coming back in more terrifying ways. And I'm thankful that it is, again, not just violence bad. Now, games like these favor gameplay over story, which makes sense. I mean, all games should do that. Although, to be fair, 2 has a lot of dialogue in comparison to 1. These games are known for their high-octane, hard, skull-crushing combat that you can't get enough of. The second one doesn't really change the gameplay from the first, and while I can understand the if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing, I still think it is very great anyway. You move pretty fast and so can enemies, so you have to be really quick all the time, but sometimes it can get frustrating, but responding is so quick and intuitive that more games, if they can, should just do this. One button, boom. I mean, I killed my R button throughout both of these games. Let's just say the dying 1,000 times achievement came pretty easy. But if a game can just get me right back into the ass-tearing action, or proceeding to die 4 seconds later, then just let me. I added variety in 2 where it's actual towers, camps, subways. Sometimes they can be too openly big, or even the peek mechanic by pressing shift, which is very convenient, can't even find the enemy, but it's always satisfying when you just happen to nail it. And trust me, you can get some pretty wild combos. I mean, I blow ass at this game, but you can get some wild shit. This game literally has you itching for more sometimes, and the level editor adds great value to that, as well as the fact that people make elaborate shitposts. I mean, I played through a level campaign where you play as Garfield and you meet your illegitimate son and you go kill people for lasagna, and it was life-changing. To help exaggerate the gameplay in the game, these games ooze style. The simple pixel graphics and the top-down perspective, with the bland background intentional because the context is just to focus on the killings, the incredibly violent sprites that can happen, the score screen telling you how you did, trying to congratulate you, and more important, the soundtrack. The soundtrack in the first game is just alright. Anything made by Moon is great, but the best song is easily Crystals, and the best song in 2 is definitely Run. It sounds good after 500 listens, guys, trust me. But honestly, so many of the songs are so good. All of them fit with the levels, but they're also great tracks on their own. And the ambient ones are really nice. Hell, the damn score screen music at 2 goes so hard. It really is the case where the music makes a lot of the game. Now at this point, I think I've mentioned everything I'd like to, which brings us back to the opening statement. What made Hotline Miami so special? And honestly, I think it's everything. No, really, I think both the Hotline Miami games had a good understanding of gameplay, story, and style. A lot of games struggle to meet 3 of those. Hell, some games struggle to meet 1, but these games knew how to be fun, interesting, and present it all in a unique, different way, creating something that deserved to get incredibly popular. If you haven't played these games, I really do recommend them, because I think it's a good example of how to make a project stand out in all of the best ways. Now, before the video ends, and I know this has been a pretty short video, I didn't want to drag this one on, I figured I should explain what this is over, like, I guess an epic montage of my gameplay. I wanted this video to be, like, a little bit different than a review, because Hotline Miami, it's kind of weird, because it's weird in such a way where I don't think I could review the games. If I did, I guess I'd give them a high score, but it's weird to kind of put it in that format, and I honestly was thinking about just branching out, trying a different video topic, so I wanted to go for something that's more of like a discussion, just about the Hotline Miami games. There are some problems I had with them. If you noticed, I haven't really brought them up in the video. A big one is the ending of 2, which is the ending of the whole series. I found it incredibly unsatisfying from a story perspective, but again, I didn't really want to go into it. I found Hotline Miami was indeed special, and I wanted to just go into what made it so special. These games have always just stuck out to me. So many people would bring them up, and I hadn't played them, and then I have, so now I get a lot of it, and I didn't want it to break it down into some review. I just wanted to be like a shorter, sort of like more of like a forum video, I guess. I realize now that I'm making a lot of different types of videos. I should probably make playlists to make all this easier, because I have like the original review series that I do with indie games. Then I have like the one review I have out of Dying Light 2, which isn't of that series. It's still a review, but I want to make them like different, because I want the Whoever Heard About videos to be like their own thing about random niche indie games I think are worth talking about, rather than just a typical review of, I guess, a game more people would have known about. And then I have the But We Ruined It videos, which is just me screwing around with friends and games. And now I have these, so sorry if this is like a lot, I guess, but I did want to make something different and, like, I guess just try and branch out. And I want to know what you guys thought. That's about it. Alright, the video can actually end now. Thanks. See ya.